Whether you like it or not, the Xbox One failed. After being on the market for 5 years, it's safe to say that the Xbox One has lost this generation's console war. While its sales numbers aren't bad per se, PlayStation 4 is outselling Xbox One more than 2 to 1, making the chances of Microsoft taking the lead this generation virtually impossible. And this can be attributed, for the most part, to bad marketing. Of course, a large part of the Xbox One's bad launch and slow sales can be blamed on the lack of exclusive titles, bad decisions on the hardware side, and the launch price tag. But really, Microsoft's marketing is the big culprit. Those failings really fall into 3 categories: the target audience, or who the product is for; the product positioning, which features of the product sell the product; and the communication, or how to talk about the product. Let's start with targeting. Microsoft tried to pull off what many had tried before, to sell the Xbox One as a home entertainment device for the whole family and not only as a games console. The all-in-one messaging was to win over families in the hope of convincing both gamers and parents this was the one and only game console to get. And in some way, that strategy made sense. Nintendo had pulled it off with the Wii and outsold both Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. But in marketing a new product, what's true in gaming, and what is true for most products, is this: you need to secure the core first, and only after can you go broader. From 2007 to 2014, the Xbox 360 dominated the PlayStation 3. Microsoft assumed that it had already won over players with the Xbox 360, so its efforts focused on the bigger and more casual audience. But that proved to be wrong. Sony understood that principle and applied the core-first approach in full force with the PlayStation 4. From its very announcement, the PS4 was targeted at core and mid-core players, typically people who already owned a gaming console and played games regularly. Sony's targeting efforts were so on the nose that it even made it into the PlayStation 4's tagline. Then there's positioning. As with most product announcement, going big and broad right from the start can be risky. The messaging gets diluted and it's unfocused. The Xbox One's announcement focused on entertainment, cable TV, exclusive series, Kinect voice assistants, gestures, and also a little bit about games. The result was at best confusing for the broader audience and frustrating for gamers who felt games were only an afterthought. Sony, on the other hand, with its player-centric approach, focused its communication on performance and games catalog and exclusives. The Wii had pulled off the broad approach, but Nintendo pulled it off because A, Nintendo products traditionally had a family-friendly positioning, and B, the Wii's innovation was simple, well communicated, and easy to understand, even for non-gamers. Finally, there's communication. It's not unreasonable to think that despite Microsoft clearly missing their target audience and positioning, the Xbox One could still have had a better launch if it wasn't for clumsy communication and crisis mishandling. Back in 2012, leaks and rumors about the Xbox One before the official announcement started to pop up in the media. From those, 2 facts really caught players and media's attention. The Xbox One required an internet connection to play games, and games bought were tied to a console, preventing players from reselling or lending games to friends. Microsoft first refused to comment on those rumors, before later confirming around the product reveal that the reports were true. To make things worse, Xbox head at the time, Don Matrick, failed to address the issue convincingly in interviews.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
In the end, Microsoft did end up going back on their decisions and remove some of the limitations, but by that point, the damage had already been made. Of course, Sony's smart handling of this crisis didn't make things easier for Microsoft. It's rumored Sony shared many of Microsoft's vision in terms of online requirements and pricing, but decided to scrap them last minute and revise their announcements mere hours before releasing them to the public. To its credit, Microsoft has drastically changed its communication style around Xbox One following the launch debacle. The company is now focusing on the more hardcore segment of the market with the release of new powerful hardware, player-friendly initiatives, and some exclusives. Some. Time will tell if that strategy will pay off in the end. Microsoft went from having the momentum and a dominant position in a previous console generation and managed to completely lose it in a matter of months due to poor marketing and communication decisions. The Xbox One's launch is an interesting example of how the wrong marketing strategy can make or break a product.